Okay. That guy on TikTok that, like, he watches somebody make something and then he goes, what are you doing?
I like
Is that the deep voice guy?
I cut it out to spare you, but right here is where we sat and watched a TikTok for like 5 minutes. You're welcome.
When he's watching the other people, the first video that he's mimicking, he always goes, what are you doing there? What are you doing there for?
Oh, yeah. It's funny.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Let's dive right in. 7 TikTok videos later.
I know, that could have gone on really long if I'd said, oh, then have you seen this one?
Oh. It's amazing it didn't. It's amazing we didn't go down that rabbit hole.
Well, it was kind of funny that, like, I showed you who he was just so you could be like, oh, yeah, I've seen him before. And instead you were like...
Everybody's so creative.
Oh, my God. We were somewhere, Greg and I were walking through a store, and it said something like everybody's creative corner or something like that. And I read it as everybody's so creative. So, of course, out loud, I go, everybody's so creative. Greg goes, what? And he's seen the videos, but...
Looks like, you see how it looks like we wasn't supposed to do that? But we did.
But we did.
My brother's calling me.
What does he want? I'm just kidding.
And right here, I cut out a super long conversation that Amy had with her brother on the phone about his dog being sick.
By the way, next week's episode is in South Carolina, and it's called Killer Smile.
I love South Carolina.
Okay, so I want to talk about next week's episode. That's the one where I have been in contact with the
sketch artist.
No, with the client.
Oh,
her name's Tracy.
Okay.
Yep, with an I.
Yep, and I've been in contact with her, and she was all set to do an interview, and I will say, and I don't know if I'll leave this in for the people or not, but the stuff that was going on, I'm just excited to see it in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a
morbid way.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's still going on, and she is unable to do the interview because she is so sick.
Really?
And it's from that.
Wow.
Have they not been able to get anybody out there?
Right.
Yeah. That's really too bad.
It's real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Real bad. She was really excited. She really wanted to be on.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing she said to me in a message was, I have refound my faith, and I'm working with a Catholic priest on an exorcism.
If the whatever it was found out, that could be really bad.
She thinks that that they started to get help, and that's what pissed it off, and then it
because it
bad.
wasn't finished, and so
so that's gonna be an interesting one.
I wonder if it is demonic or evil, because usually that's the only time it acts up as.
Well, I'm also really intrigued because the Catholic Church does not like to do exorcisms. They like to go through every avenue, even though that's not quite how it was throughout history with different things, but they like to go through everything to say that it can't be that.
It can't be that, yeah. Which on the one hand is good, because they're not exorcising someone with schizophrenia or something.
Right,
but.
right. Well, and also, I'm sure priests don't exactly enjoy doing exorcisms
and
because they go
be
really bad.
You have to be
trained.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Constantine, and they look really tough.
I watched Evil. Did you guys watch Evil on CBS?
No. Yes.
Oh, so good.
Is it scary?
I haven't been. Scary.
Okay.
No. Yeah, you probably.
I actually had nightmares from the first episode. Where the thing over is her bed.
Yes. And didn't that flip over to? Was it Netflix? It went somewhere, but I didn't watch the second season.
I didn't either because it went to something I couldn't watch it on anymore.
Yep.
I'll be fine.
It went to
Paramount Plus. Yep.
Oh, I won't watch that.
Because that was CBS Plus.
No, that's scary.
Really good, but yeah, it was. I definitely had.
Okay.
Bad dreams.
If you have bad dreams, then I would.
I was actually surprised that was on network TV.
I was too.
Because
I'm like, what?
Like,
is this CBS? Is this on like midnight?
And the guy so fucking creepy.
Which guy?
The bad guy. The old guy.
Yeah. Yep, he's the one from Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the actor's name. He's in another show too. Point of No Return. Point something. Anyway.
Point blank. Point.
No.
I don't know.
I wish I could
Point
remember
Blank
his
is a
name. I want to
song
say
by
it's
Bruce
Michael
Springsteen.
something.
His name is Michael Emerson, and the show I was trying to remember is called Person of Interest.
Point of No Return is
This
also
is what I say.
Paranormal.
Amy's yelling at us right now. She's
Hey,
right here.
I don't know that
So
show
now
though.
she yells at us in person.
Okay, so this episode that we're talking about
Yes.
now, it is not evil. It is, well, it's There's Evo, but it's not called Evo, and it is not the one that's on next week. It is called Head Games. It is season 15, of course, episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Orlando, Florida, but it's actually in like a little neighborhood or a little smaller area.
Yeah.
Oh, and I sent you
Orlando.
how to say it because
we
for
did.
me.
I knew how to say it. I just didn't remember how to spell it.
Akoe.
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 Ocoee.
Yeah.
Akoe.
Okay. So we're doing this one a little different this time. We are not going to recap it moment for moment. You're welcome. We are just, I asked these guys and I to just jotted down or thought up the top moments, things that we thought were cool or interesting or scary or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then any questions that we think of for the client, because we were thinking that we might try to do an interview.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Any sound bites that they liked, and then is there anything else that we wanted to dig into as far as facty stuff that Amy could look up, anything more about the crimes and stuff like that. So that's what we did, and I actually wrote it on paper with a pen, and so did Amy.
I did not.
I don't usually do that, but I had this little notebook and I want to use it for something. So
Oh, there is trigger warning of murder, suicide,
Yep.
and racism,
yeah,
KKK.
KKK, crimes
Lots of
against
racism.
people of color,
Yep.
violent crimes against people of color. It was bad.
It's bad. It's real bad.
It actually, when I was watching it, I went, like I literally gasped
Yeah.
and my jaw dropped.
I mean, and I was like, oh, and then they're going to do this to him, and then they're going to do this to him, and they did, and I knew it, but I still got like,
the sad part is it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
The sadder part is that it's still happening.
I know.
Like they're talking about it, and I was like, "This could have been last year.
Yeah.
This could have been."
It's real sad.
It is.
2023,
Yep.
and we're still. My friend's friend got messaged today on Facebook because he's gay, and they called him a fucking pedophile, and they said they hope he dies, and they called him the F word, and they said he preys on children, PRAY on children, and
So he prays for their soul.
yeah.
Got it.
And this guy is like, his whole job is like car seat safety and making sure that their car seats are installed correctly for children. So it's literally trying to save their life.
So,
But because he's gay, he's obviously
That's
the P word. And
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
the hatred in this country is
I know.
sad.
It's not just this country, but it's, you would think that we would be advanced enough to not be dealing with this shit, but
Here we are.
It's always like flummoxed me on how we can have such guttural reactions to something that has nothing to do with our lives.
Yeah.
Doesn't touch our lives,
Right.
doesn't do anything to us.
Right.
But there are people who are so angry
Right.
because someone has more melanin in their skin.
Yeah.
I'm freaking transparent in the winter.
Right.
I'm just jealous. I
Or
get sunburned in the winter.
Who people love. And it's
Yes!
like, it doesn't affect you.
no.
Who
It has
cares?
nothing to do with you.
Personally,
No.
I don't care for any, like, lots of PDA and any shows that I
No.
watch, but I know that's gonna be there, so you just, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. I'm just like,
bothers you as a whole.
yeah, it's just like, can we just go on with the
Right,
plot line?
right.
What is with this romance?
Right.
I don't mind the romance.
Romance
It's
is dead.
The like soft porn stuff.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if I wanted to watch that, there's shows I could choose that.
Yeah.
I
Or
like that.
internet sites.
But, yeah.
Can we
When they
get
just-
on to who killed who, please? Like, why are we not focused on this?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know we're joking and that kind of stuff, but it's, I don't know how to handle some of that.
Weed.
It's awful. Weed
Or drinking.
gummies.
Gummies. I'm out of
Where's
gummies.
my Snoop Dogg?
I'm out of gummies. I'm really upset about it. Stuff. And now it's
Yeah.
going to be legal.
It's
I have
Delta.
my own
Well,
plant.
Delta's
It's still
legal.
Delta 9
I
too.
know,
Delta's
I know.
Yeah, Delta
But
9
now I
has been
can
legal.
grow my own 6 plants that I have from
It's just,
seven
just
six
buy the
seeds.
gummies from someone who knows what they're doing.
Hey.
Makes sense.
I could know what I'm doing.
You could, but
But
you
I
don't
don't.
already. And
But
that
I-
means
but I-
that you'd have to take up that hobby and you'd have to stick with it. Am I right?
Hey, I have stuck with jewelry for like
Yeah, but
5
you
years.
change the kind of jewelry every 5 minutes.
That's true.
You're the one that brought that up when we
You're
were
not
interviewing with Annie.
Wrong.
You're the one that said that. You're like, first I was into earrings, and then I was into resin, and then
First
I
I was
clay.
into beads, and then I was into resin,
Clay.
and then I was into clay, and now I'm still into clay.
Okay, good.
Aren't you glad you guys are here today?
Anyways.
This is what it's like to go to happy hour with us. Yeah, so we still haven't really gotten to the
No.
show.
Nope.
Let's dive in.
So, okay, let's dive in. Let's jump right in. Okay, so some top moments.
We're freaking out.
You guys have been over here for.
Everybody's
An hour.
turned us off by now. There's nobody listening anymore.
That's okay. All right, so I put for my top moments, just the Gremlin thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is fucking with both of the women, and Amy says it used to be human. It's not
Yeah.
anymore.
That
I wish they would have gone into more, like,
there was so much stuff that was vague in this episode,
Yes.
and there was no resolution to
Yes.
a lot of stuff, and
Yes.
that I am so frustrated by.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I agree. There was a lot of stuff that they brought up that they never talked about
never
later.
talked about.
And then
Or
there was stuff in the reveal
revealed
that
that-
they didn't talk about before. And my guess is, like we always say, they probably did. And some Yahoo just left it on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Someone tripped over it.
Yeah. It's probably what happened. I would like to see the full 9-hour episode, please. Yeah.
Can we get the uncut version?
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's what I would like.
The Dead Files, uncut.
Yeah. Almost as long as our episodes, probably.
Yeah.
And with probably just as much bullshit.
Probably.
I will say when Steve first sat down with Jennifer, though, did anybody else notice how close they were sitting?
Yeah.
Those chairs, their legs were interwoven.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't
they
notice
were
that.
so close together. I was like, okay, obviously they had to stage the room, I'm guessing, and it's a room we find out
might have
later in
been
the
small,
episode
yeah.
that the house was built probably in about 1987, 1988 based off of
86.
I think they started developing the land, but
Oh, okay.
they might have said that
Right.
the house was built there, but the land was purchased in 85.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Yeah, and then the house might have been built 86, 87, somewhere in there. Yep, house is in 86.
Yeah.
But it's like, so, you know, stylistically, there was a lot of narrow
Right.
space, it looked like, but I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't
why aren't
notice that.
why aren't we sitting at a table or something? Or why are we
Yeah.
sitting, like, it was literally like Megan and I this close, like our
Yeah,
their
it was.
knees were
I
interlocked.
didn't notice that. Yeah.
Baby Steve wanted to be that close.
Maybe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bubble space.
Yeah.
This is my bubble.
Mm-hmm.
This is my damn space. Your damn space.
Do you want to bring up one of yours?
Well, I just kept writing down a lot of notes. I thought that was really just how close they were sitting. But then before that, with Amy opening, did anybody catch? And maybe I haven't seen this before, but they put Amy Allen medium.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
then
I
they
thought
put
that was weird.
and they put Steve DeShavi.
Yeah. Retired homicide detective.
Yeah, and I'm like, don't they cover that in
Yeah.
the opening?
I'd never
And
seen that before.
That's
No,
that's
I
where I
noticed
was
that
really
too.
confused. I'm like, did I just miss this in previous
For 15 or 14 seasons?
like did I just get used to it and not notice it?
No,
but
I've never seen it before. You know what I think? It's probably because there's going to be new people coming on because of Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Potentially,
the
yeah.
Cindy fans are coming in and they want to, like,
No.
it could be.
they don't want people to watch and go, that doesn't look like Cindy Kaza.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that was something, and just Amy being her. The earth is not stable here.
Yeah.
The land here is all about death. Everyone's dying,
Yep.
which we never get any resolution to that comment
Nope.
as to like what does that mean. But what was she holding in her hand? Like she had a little like black something when she was out in the yard, and she had. Excuse me, she had like muck boots on.
Yeah, she
so
did.
the water, the ground must have been damp.
Yeah.
I wonder if she was
Well-
holding some sort of recording device.
That's what I was wondering.
It could have been like a thing of crystals or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
too.
It could have been, yeah.
It was.
I did notice that she had her purse.
She
Yeah,
usually does
bag,
have a purse with her.
And then she had her book and her pen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that was her pen. I
No.
think
No.
that was something
It was a
else.
big, like a black
Yeah.
rectangular
Yep.
thing.
I wonder. Yeah, maybe it was one of like her mic
Mm-hmm.
kit
Mhm.
or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. I did notice those shoes or those boots, and I thought. And you remember when she got out there and she said the ground is unstable, and she felt like it was
She felt
like
very,
it was wet and like it was almost
Yeah.
sucking her in, kind
Yeah.
of.
and she said she had a lot of vertigo from
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so maybe that's why she put the boots on,
Yeah.
because her other, I don't know.
Well, I'm guessing at least with the boots it was more of a practicality because she had very loose flowy
Yeah.
pants
Yeah.
and even
Very
if
down
it's
chilly.
very slightly damp, you're gonna step all over
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah.
that would be my assumption
Yeah,
there.
that's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
Probably true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting that there were so many murder-suicides
Yes.
in the area. And,
4.
you know,
No, 3.
Yeah,
2
there
in
were
history.
3.
The one in the history where the girl ran away and he fucking chased her down.
Mhm.
That just happened in it was kind of up north a little bit, near like maybe Rush City, but a girl and a man were a woman and a man were having a dispute. The woman was 57, the man was like 36 or something. She walked away from him. They were arguing. She walked away. He got in his car, ran her over, and killed her. It's
Holy
like this.
shit.
It's like the same thing.
Oh my god.
And then this other guy like fled up to New
Yeah.
Jersey,
Yeah.
and then came
And
back.
then came back.
What?
And then killed himself.
And then killed himself.
Mhm.
But he would killed himself in Georgia, didn't he? He wasn't in
Yeah,
Florida.
it was in
Yeah.
a gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, true, if you're looking for information and we don't know how big of a space that they're looking for and things are happening over 100 years or so, of course, if you're looking specifically for something, you're going to find
You're gonna
it,
find
right?
it.
I,
But
I
yes.
will say though that I was being a Snoopy McSnoopersons, and I tried to find the grandparents who
Yep.
Yeah,
died murder-suicide. So I knew their names were Kathy and David.
David.
Yep.
And I knew they were from Ocoee.
Akoe. Nailed
And
it.
so, so I both used Google and newspapers.com, and I put all those search terms in, and I couldn't find anything. I put
Really?
in murder suicide,
Mhm.
and she said it happened 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So I figured, let's say this was filmed last year, so 2022.
22.
So I went like 2018 to 2022, and I found 3 or 4 more murder suicides that were in that time frame,
Wow.
that were in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and none of them
Wow.
were these people.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well-
and one of them was even an elderly couple too.
Well, and that might tie into Amy said she came across an elderly woman, and throughout everything,
Yep.
we're assuming that it's the
Yes,
grandmother, but at
yes.
the reveal, she said, it's
She didn't
not.
come
I
back.
know she's not. She's not tied to these houses.
Yeah. She
But
said
she's very
around
confused.
here.
And
And-
not this house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that ticks me off. Like, can you, like, don't cause not just us, but Paige and Jennifer to sit there thinking it's her. And then, especially Paige, she found them.
Which we didn't find out till the reveal.
Till the
They didn't
reveal.
say that in the beginning.
And then Paige said, well, I would love to get therapy, which makes me think that Jennifer hasn't let her get therapy.
Okay, we
But,
have thoughts on
but
Jennifer.
Paige is 30 as
Yeah,
well.
she's
So
30.
she's 30.
I know.
Yeah,
but
there's.
maybe she can't afford it. I mean, she's living with her mom.
Well, I think her mom is living with her.
yes.
I think Paige got the house.
I think the
I
house was
think-
left to her.
I think
because Paige lives in the main bedroom.
Yep, in the master bedroom.
Mom lives in the side bedroom.
And Mom made a point to say, we are her sole support.
Yes. And like I said to Amy,
I
I could hear
thought it
her
was
eyes rolling. Paige's eyes rolling.
I
She
could
was
hear
like,
my mom's eyes rolling.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
thought that was weird.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I don't believe a word out of Jennifer's mouth.
I really struggle with.
I was kind of on board with her until the reveal.
I was on board with her
And then
until I
she
looked
got-
at Paige and I realized that Paige was like, this is bullshit. This is all bullshit. All this, I want my daughter to be
I will
There was-
support my
okay,
daughter
there-
until her my dying
there
breath.
And her mom's
terms
or
and things.
Paige is like, right.
There were terms and things like my mom. I love watching this with her last night, and then we talked about it on a walk today. And she's like, it just got to me that there were certain words that people don't use in an everyday. Like she kept using. I think I'm influenced. I think they were influenced.
I thought
Like
that was
it was. You had researched episodes
Yes.
of the show,
Yes.
and then both her and Paige used malice. Malice is not a common
No.
word. Most people would use. I mean, it's a
like
word we
evil
know
or
very well, but you would
bad
use.
or-
Not in everyday conversation.
Yeah, you would say. You might say malicious,
Right.
but you might say it's just something feels evil.
right or bad or
But-
not right or
Yeah, and it was. This is
Mean.
one thing that I was like, it would be really interesting if we cut it back to back, because you hear Jennifer talking about depression, paranoia, and these kinds of things, and then Amy says the exact same phrasing, and like, I'm not saying that Amy or anybody copied those words, but those are terms that are used throughout. It was just very interesting the way that it progressed there.
Oh, guys, let the dogs out.
But yeah,
Can I have
it
a
was.
glass of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want some more Snoop Dogg too?
No, thank you. Just water.
There was just a feeling of insincerity.
It was almost like Jennifer just wanted to be famous. Like she just wanted to be on the show.
That is exactly. I asked my mom this morning.
Paige,
I said,
I believe.
Yes.
Paige, I feel like she's very tormented, especially given the fact that she found her grandparents, whom I gathered she was very close with.
Well, and that's some of the things
Thank you.
my mom and I talked about too. Did Paige's grandparents raise her?
Probably.
Potentially.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that yet, but you said that.
Just because there is that weird dynamic, there was so much vague. There was, my daughter's grandparents.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We never hear about her dad.
Right.
So we don't know, was it a good relationship? Was it a poor relationship? Anything that happened. She never called them her in-laws, but Steve kept calling them her in-laws. Mm-hmm. But at the reveal, then this is one of those icky feelings I got. I was just kind of like, ugh. When I heard it, it was, I know they're still here because I hear her voice giving me words of encouragement.
Yeah.
And he came up behind me and gave me a hug. But earlier, all she said that we saw of the footage was the gray man and the horrible things that he's saying that's giving her paranoia and influencing her thoughts, and it wasn't cut, and maybe it's just the episode wasn't cut well, and that we lost some stuff that would have changed it.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's all of it.
And I thought it was interesting that Jennifer used the phrase "jumped."
Yes.
Because I
Amy
would never ever say that.
We might now because we watched the show. Right, and she probably is a fan of the show.
Yes.
I don't know that kind of. When she said that, I was like, most people wouldn't say that. They'd say like something came over me.
But I assume that everybody who is a client on the Dead Files watches the show.
Yeah,
or you
that's
wouldn't
true.
know to call them.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
They learn.
You learn some of the lingo. You
that's
pick up.
True,
but I did find it like. Is she Amy right now? The way that she's talking?
Yeah.
I think it was just interesting. What you looking for?
That's what
I hid it from you.
She was looking for Snoop.
Should we take a little drink break and make something else? Okay, we're not really going anywhere. We're just gonna stop talking, or we can keep talking.
Well, we'll stop talking.
I mean, we're not gonna stop talking. We're not murder suicides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that I found so many that were not these people.
Yeah.
None of the people that they talked about.
Yeah.
Well, and that was weird because I did try to look up some like about her dad or anything, and I, of course, not knowing the last name, that does make it a little bit more difficult. But I couldn't find. Was he in the military? Was he something? Obviously, she had a good relationship, but it felt like she and Mom just recently came back into
each
contact. And so we hear in the reveal that grandparents got the house in 2017.
Yes.
So they weren't there for very long.
Right. And then they just bought it in 2017. And then if it was 3 years ago, then they had only had the house for 2 years before they died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there was a time when Amy was in that bedroom and said, I feel like the person who's here, the living that's here, wanted to be haunted.
Yes.
And she grabbed onto this gremlin thing.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, so she's sitting there, and I was like, okay, she's going to talk about this at the reveal so that we get an understanding. I'm like, nope. So, but I could understand that, especially if that was, and Amy put words in Paige's mouth at the end.
Oh, did she?
Because Paige was like, I miss my grandma. And she goes, yeah, and you want your mom.
You want your mom. Yeah.
You want your mom.
And that's when Paige was like, sure.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, there's something there.
There's history,
yeah.
Yep. And so that was, I think that I can understand that desire and want to know that those people that you love so much are there and are taking care of you because they took care of you in life. And especially because she's the one who found them, and it obviously sounds like she hasn't gotten any therapy. So maybe not that they're not, helping her get it, but maybe just not being supportive of like, well, you don't need it. Why would you need that?
Right. That's kind of my thought. It's or they like are very disdainful of it, and if she's even went, they might have mocked her for it to the point where she didn't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was what was brought up by Amy, and then it's not brought up in the 4 weeks later, which I feel like if you were really excited about getting that relationship back with your daughter, you'd say, brought that up.
We're calling a therapist in the morning and we're going to get started.
Or even though it took us a little bit of time to get this thing out of here, we started the conversations already or something.
Yeah. Jennifer felt very disingenuous and fake. Yeah. Paige, I believe. Yeah. Paige is very traumatized. Yeah. And she even, the fact that she said, I would love that. I want therapy.
I've been wanting.
And then, like, her mom looked at her. She said. Like, they cut to her mom looking at her, like, kind of side-eyeing her a little bit.
She's probably a Scientologist.
I noticed two things about them as well was Jennifer's eyes were constantly
I did a screenshot where
moving.
She was like,
and in the reveal, her hair parted, kept changing.
Oh, that I need to go back and look at.
Yeah, because my mom's like, look at that, her part changed, and it's literally when she's telling a story, and it's like it's on this side, and then it's on this side, but it's combed down. Yeah. So obviously, it's how different they were. Takes. Yeah, different takes. And then, but what I did notice, and I think this goes to the thought with Paige. Again, just speculation.
This is all speculation.
She couldn't look Steve in the eye.
Oh. Paige? Yeah. She couldn't really look anybody in the eye.
And she almost had this defeatist look. But then Amy also said, like, there's so much negative energy in that room. She probably needs to, like, completely strip out the carpet and paint everything
because
and just.
They were found in her bedroom. In her
what is now her closet and
was probably their closet.
Yeah. And so I'm sure that part of it has been obviously professionally cleaned at least, but you would think that.
But I noticed the camera like zoomed in on the carpet, and I'm like,
I know.
You guys,
can
it's not
we
gonna be
stop?
blood on the carpet.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Oh, how about the sinkhole? When in the reveal, when Paige when they're talking, Amy's talking,
and we
about
got a nice drone shot. Of the pond. Yeah.
And but how Amy was talking about, you might feel dizzy or whatever. Not about the sinkhole. She was just like, the land.
Equilibrium. Yep.
You might feel dizzy or uneasy or
And then I know this isn't. But then Jennifer's like, I stumble around like I'm drunk. And I'm like, isn't that convenient?
You boozing?
You boozing?
No, she doesn't drink.
No, she doesn't drink. Just like Harry from Annie's episode.
I don't drink.
When he said that, the whole family started laughing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But anyway, so then when Paige goes, oh yeah, we kind of came to expect that when we moved in because of the sinkhole. And Amy's like, the what?
Yeah, I know.
They warned us that would happen when we moved in here because of the massive sinkhole. What?
Amy was like, huh?
She did the awooga.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then they didn't really talk about that anymore.
No. So we got a nice drone shot of the pond.
Yeah, they did. And she's like, well, it's just a pond now. And like, well, for now, until it sinks again and takes the whole neighborhood with it.
Yeah.
But when AP was looking for something to look up, and she said, I could look up sinkholes. And I was like, yeah, look up, like, why? I've never heard of a sinkhole nearby, meaning that you're going to get dizzy or equilibrium's going to be off or anything like that. So
maybe it's only tied to that land.
So yeah, I couldn't find hardly anything, and I looked under a couple of different things. So if anybody knows more, please let us know. But sinkholes, of course, I taught science and I taught geology, so I know a minuscule about this, but sinkholes that tend to form in areas where you have a lot of limestone. Limestone is a sedimentary rock, so it has a lot of carbonate, so that's, your ocean floor type stuff too.
Isn't that what pumice is made out of? Or is that pumice a rock?
Pumice is a rock, but I don't know.
No, it isn't it part of lava?
I don't know.
What's pumice made out of?
I'm pretty sure pumice stone is. Yeah.
I know I said we aren't going to do this while we're talking.
I know.
But anyways,
I already know some of what Amy said.
Yeah, but the limestone is So limestone can erode easily, and so groundwater that comes through, that's where you get a lot of caves and caverns, karsts, all these different things that are underground. But once that structure gets to a point where it's really cavernous, and then you can also have where the water level drops, and when the water level drops, that's often when you have one of those bigger, like one of those sinkholes that comes through. But that's when, you know, you don't have anything supporting, and it falls through.
Okay.
So I try to look up, okay, what are some things about limestone, because stones and minerals and crystals have different, well, minerals are crystals, they're formations, but you have different things that are associated with them. So limestone does have stability as a quality that is associated with it. White limestone specifically, from what I was looking up, and I sent Amy the link of where I had found some information. So maybe if you're super connected, there's a little bit of that, or you're, you know, like really in tune to those sorts of things, or very sensitive, that you might potentially feel that imbalance. So nothing else that I found could find that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep. So pumice is a volcanic rock.
Right.
So
ding ding ding, yay, baby!
There's lots of different ones, but yeah, with this one is gonna be something with, it says high water content and gases. That's why you get all the little bubbles and everything in it. So what's fun about volcanoes, everything that
volcanoes are really cool, but terrifying.
Anything that any rocks that are cooling above ground, they're going to cool quickly, so you're going to have small crystals, and then anything like basalt, and anything that cools underground, you're going to have larger crystals that grow in it. So the separation of the minerals, because they have different cooling temperatures. And
that's your science lesson for this week.
Everyone's welcome for that. There'll be a quiz later.
There will be. Yeah.
And then also in the reveal, never mentioned before, Jennifer says, "Oh yeah, I had a dream that Paige stabbed me."
I know.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did that come from?
And it also looked like at least the way that they showed it, like Paige was like, "What?"
Right. I think Paige is over her mother's shit.
I think she is too. You know what? So much.
It's like Amy said something, and then Jennifer was like, "Oh yeah, I have this story that relates to it."
that I just forgot to tell you.
That I just remembered happened.
Super, super pertinent.
And then she goes, "I had a dream that Paige stabbed us." Well, I mean, me.
Just me.
Yep.
Really, Jennifer? I think everything's about you.
Anyway. Oh, and I noted that I think Paige looks like K-Stu. Kristen Stewart.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
She does. She even has her personality a bit.
A little bit. She's quiet and, yeah.
But she truthfully seemed like a very, like, cool person. Yeah. And I was like,
for sure.
I feel like we'd get along.
Right. Yeah. Like, I feel like we'd be friends.
Yeah. But going back to some of the reveal with, like, the stabbing and everything, and, like, Jennifer talking about the gray man, which we didn't really talk about till Steve was like, well, tell Amy about the gray man.
Is that the fish, or the frog
thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a cool
but
picture,
she goes,
I have to say.
If it's going to kill me, it's going to have to do it the bloody hard way.
I'm like, what does that even mean?
It means, well, and I'm
Are
like,
you British?
I'm like, so that means that it's going to make you kill yourself. Is that what you're asking it to do? Because that's what it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say that, then that's
you just
inviting it.
I mean, the thing is going challenge accepted.
Right.
Yeah. Well, now, okay.
Or as the kids would say nowadays, bet.
Oh, is that what you say instead of challenge accepted?
Yeah. That's what they say on the TikTok.
Is that like you bet?
Yeah, like bet.
Got it.
Yeah. That's what the TikTok says.
I don't think I can get away with that.
No. Oh, God.
I just had a thought, too, because we didn't find out. Do we find out how old Jennifer is?
Jennifer.
No.
She says her husband is 47.
Right.
So if her daughter's 30, and let's say she's about the same age, potentially high school child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, I wonder if potentially Paige's dad passed away young?
Maybe.
Or he might still be alive. We have no idea.
But the fact that she was so close with his
exactly.
mom and dad
yes.
tells me that he is not just pieced out somewhere, that he's passed.
Well, it could be, I mean, if they were young kids, like let's say high school sweethearts, they got knocked up, and Jennifer, for whatever reason, maybe didn't want to raise her, and so he and his grandparents watched her. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios, but
it seems like if he was still alive, he'd be in the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe. Or maybe he just didn't want to be around the show.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, he's not brought up by name, and Jennifer doesn't even like note their relationship. She says
Paige is from another relationship.
yeah, Paige's
relationship.
Paige, my daughter, from a previous relationship, and then she says Paige's grandparents.
Yeah.
Which then makes you feel like they're distant.
Yeah.
Like she's distant to them.
That's right. I
But
think
then-
Jennifer's not been in this story for the whole time.
I literally have here, did she come back into Paige's life post Kathy and David?
Yes, I believe so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I think. I think they died.
So that makes me
and
think
she
that
said, I'm moving in with my daughter because then I have a free house because she owns it now.
And maybe she didn't get along with Kathy and David, and that's why she wasn't
But
allowed.
she says that she did.
Yeah, but then Paige kind of rolled her eyes about
Yeah.
I know. I don't want to like not trust or believe somebody,
I know.
and that's where I'm struggling because I just don't know. I don't.
Maybe maybe some of it did happen,
Mhm.
but she's maybe embellishing it more or making a little bit up for the cameras because Paige did seem affected. Like
Yes.
Paige has had experiences.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm
And
not
so-
saying that things are not happening in that
but it
house.
makes me think that Jennifer might be embellishing what's happening to her a little bit. Like the scratch that she had. I'm sorry, I didn't see anything. I saw a little line.
So
But-
that makes me wonder then, did Jennifer just want to be the
Maybe.
haunted one?
Oh, maybe she's the one that grabbed the gremlin.
Because
Because-
it was in the main bedroom that Amy was getting that, but it feels...
And I feel like, and I only watched it once, but it was today. I feel like
Recent memory, anyway.
Jennifer almost acted like the main bedroom was hers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't, but I feel
Yeah.
like, because when they interviewed, I thought they were in the main bedroom. And Steve said, "This is your bedroom," and she said yes.
Yep. She had like the dark blue...
Yeah, the two,
Blanket,
and it made
yep.
me think that if for a split second, because of the way the line was, I thought it was two beds.
Oh.
But then I just realized it was just a really pretty bedspread.
Mhm.
But that, and then when Amy was in that room later, she called it the main bedroom, and they said that's Paige's. So,
Yep.
I almost want, like, Jennifer
Yeah, the
is a
main
little
bedroom
delusional.
was pretty big.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was real big because I remember Paige standing there talking to Steve, and she was like, "And over there," and it was like,
Maybe I'm
10
thinking
feet
of a
away.
different
And the
room.
poor girl, she didn't want to grab Steve's arm.
She
no,
didn't.
I know. I wouldn't want to either. That's why, like when he does that, show me how hard.
And then he's like, "Oh, so it wasn't very
Yeah,
hard."
it wasn't very hard. She's
She's-
like, "Well, I know." I don't know.
And you see her like being like,
Like, really uncomfortable.
I'm not comfortable with this
Yeah.
exactly. And I don't think, I think he's just like, well, I just want to know,
Yeah.
what is it
Very
that you're
physical,
feeling or
right.
that physicality of it.
And not in a bad way. That's just how
No.
he is.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
how he...
Well, that's the
processes
best way
stuff.
to know how
Right.
hard something
Yep.
was. Is do it on my arm, and
Yeah.
I'll know. Yeah.
Push me. How hard? Oh, that's hard.
Oh.
That
Well,
was really hard.
Was that last week when he had the old man
No, it was
sitting at the table with him? And
Knocked.
he said,
Oh, that was a couple weeks ago.
"Yeah, I think you're right, 2 weeks."
Oh, that's hard.
Oh, that was no, not Annie's, because that was her.
No.
Her husband. I think
It
that
was
was
Annie's. Wasn't it? Wasn't that her dad?
No, because he passed away. Her dad had passed
Oh,
away.
that's right.
I think it was the first episode.
Was it really that far back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I have no concept. of
Yeah,
that.
because because it was Annie, and then it was Lisa, and then this one.
Yep.
So it had to have been the first one.
Okay, I've got all
'Cause-
those.
yeah.
Somebody's more back. Okay, so anything else we want to talk about?
If we want to keep going just on the Gremlin, Gray Man,
Frogman.
Frogman, I thought it was really interesting when Amy's like, "Oh yeah, just bring in." I can't remember who she said to bring in, but
A
he's
medium, sensitive.
because
Sensitive.
he's terrified. It's terrified of being obliterated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to not exist.
Exist.
And it sounds like because it was potentially human at one point, it's like maybe wasn't right with their belief of whatever god it was, or did
Or maybe it was an atheist in real life, or when it was alive, and now it's...
yeah, just something like
So, yeah.
that, and just doesn't is obviously just scared of what's going on, and so
And doesn't want to not exist anymore.
but if I latch on to you, then you'll take me along for the ride of whatever's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe if you be nice, people won't want to obliterate you. I mean, I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Put that on a
Going
pillow.
about that.
Just be nice. Don't get obliterated.
Okay, that'll be my next graphic for the video.
Perfect.
Every time you say make it on a pillow, I do that. Make a graphic of the thing on a pillow and I put it in the video.
Perfect.
Okay. Massive sinkhole, Amy. What? Oh, at the reveal. After when Amy's telling her things about all the, and she goes through the whole, litany of all the shit that's going on, then she goes, well, now it gets weird.
And I know, I was like, and
now
that's, so what, everything else is normal? And this is
funny.
when it gets weird. Oh, okay, Amy.
Yeah, I think all the history stuff was fascinating. We got to talk about the voting issue.
Yes.
I don't want to.
I know.
It's really
It was
sad.
awful.
This was, and what's even, like, worse, if you want to say it that way, is that there was, my brother just texted and said his house smells unbelievably bad.
I'm sure it
I'm
does.
sure he does.
His dog is
Febreze.
sick, in
His
case
dog
we
has a
cut that
tummy
out.
issue.
Febreze.
But no, what makes it even, like, worse, because it's already horrific, is that the main person that we're talking about who gets destroyed wasn't even this person who supposedly did a wrong, which wasn't a wrong. Like, he just happened to be, it's such crap to just say wrong place, wrong time, but it's like, I read through a little bit of an article, like, he was an upstanding man, he was somebody that was,
He's a businessman.
he was a leader of the community,
As was the
which
guy
is
who tried to
probably
vote.
why he was targeted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for anybody who hasn't watched it, just a little tiny recap. What we're talking about is this.
I can't read that.
This guy that went to vote.
Oh, okay.
Black man went to vote. This was 1920.
Moses Norman, November 2nd of 1920.
And he was turned away.
Because
And
they didn't think he had the right
the
to
right
vote.
qualifications or whatever, or eligibility.
Yeah.
And so
'Cause
he
he wasn't
went home,
white.
and a mob came over to his
An
not to his
armed
house.
posse that had been deputized
Yes.
and was,
Yeah.
KKK.
Yeah.
I think
So,
they were KKK.
Well, they
weren't
were. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
And so they went to his friend's house. His friend's name was July
Perry.
Perry.
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank you.
Julius was his
And he didn't have
Oh, that makes sense.
his main name.
anything to do with it.
No, he was just his friend.
Mhm.
But they grabbed him, put him in jail, and then they came back to the jail,
Overpowered
to
the
jail,
jailer, took the keys,
took him,
dragged him behind a car,
strung him out,
strung him up,
lynched
lynched him,
and then shot him full of bullets.
full of holes.
Mhm.
His body.
And the chief curator of the museum that they were talking through was Pamela Schwartz.
Yeah.
By the way, she looked very beautiful in that light blue color.
Yes.
And she had really cool earrings.
Yes.
And just like listening as
Yep.
she was talking through this, I'm sure there was so much more information that she provided, but
Yeah.
obviously, because it doesn't get talked about later on, they're just going super
Right.
Yeah.
high level,
Yeah.
which we have a link
And-
that will put it that Amy
Yeah.
will put in the
Yeah.
show notes from University of Central Florida.
The best part is that none of them really faced any
Oh,
consequences.
yeah.
Oh God,
And
no!
by best, she means worse.
Yeah.
They.
I mean, best
none of
in a
them.
horrible way.
Yeah, none of them paid any
Any
price
price
for
for
murdering this man.
Killing a man.
And it started say the name of the town again.
Akosi. Akoi. Sorry for
the
anybody who lives there.
Akoi massacre.
Yeah.
Which then turned into this big giant riot.
Yep.
And the newspaper said 8 people were killed, and
They confirmed
her
4.
name, I just
Pamela.
forgot, Schwartz. Pamela Schwartz said it was probably more like
30.
30 to 40.
Yeah.
30 to 50.
But
They-
she said we'll never know, and
never
that was
know.
by design.
Yep,
Yeah.
and only 4 for sure were confirmed to have died.
Mhm.
July, Perry, and 3 others.
Mm-hmm.
They had originally thought that Moses Norman, who was the man who went to go vote,
Mm-hmm.
had been killed, but records later showed and DNA evidence showed that he survived
Yes.
and moved up the coast.
Georgia, I want to say?
Oh, I thought I was saying
No, it
thinking
was
New
New
York.
York. It was New
Okay,
York. He
good.
went
I was
to
like,
New
I
York.
thought it was New York,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I don't think I wrote it down, but yeah, he went to New
and
York.
so there's no full records of who died.
By
It-
design.
by design. However, it did get the attention of the FBI and everything to look into voter fraud investigation.
yes,
Does
yes.
this sound familiar
Yes,
to anybody?
Yes,
Sure
it
does.
sure does.
But it had nothing to do
2017.
about the rioters, the mob of KKK,
Well, I mean,
and the murders.
he was a black person. Do they? Nobody cares
No, they
about
didn't care.
them.
They didn't care. So did you, I already asked Megan, she said no. Did you stop and zoom in on that letter?
I did not because I was, it was late last night, but at one part she read a part that said basically stop educating black people.
Yes.
I uploaded it to my computer already and I took it off my phone. But it basically said, it was a letter from the KKK
to Moses.
It was to
Jonathan.
The John Cheney, who was Judge John Cheney.
Okay.
And other white politicians saying, you need to stop educating black people. Did you forget how this went down?
The Civil War, they call them the scallywags
Yep.
of the North.
Yep. And you're perpetuating all this horrible stuff by educating black people.
By telling the black people, educating them about this concept of equality.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to let them vote.
You're not supposed to let them vote. They're not supposed to be equal.
No.
The scary part is that is literally still happening right now.
Yep. There's still KKK out there.
Yeah. Proud of it now.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all
Proud Boys. Proud Boys.
Orange Menace.
So that's their fucking name. They march with their little Tahiti fucking sticks. Tiki torches. That they buy from Target.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, speaking of that name, now like parents with kids who are proud of their kids, or the kids who are proud of their teams, like they can't use those terms because
those guys ruined it.
Well, they ruin everything. I mean,
can I have some more water? I'm sorry, I'm very needy.
I wrote down the word disgusting as we were going through this, as Steve was searching through the archives, not digging, searching
through the archives. I
but
know, I was gonna pull
was
that song clip.
Thank you.
We stopped it and then had to go back to it and be like, okay, what? Just so I could process everything that was going on. And of course, I'm not dumb that this didn't happen, but
yeah.
You want to talk about a brutal murder? That's a brutal murder.
Yeah.
Dragged behind a car. Granted, it was 1920, so I mean the car's not going 60 miles an hour, but still, dragged behind a car at any time.
Yeah. People got dragged behind horses, and
horses could go off faster than cars.
I mean, come on, like
maybe not. Yeah. It's maddening. It's horrifying.
It's maddening.
It's disgusting.
And
it's
the worst part is it's still happening. I know. It's still 2023. 100 years ago, this happened, and nothing's changed.
We should have learned by now.
Well, we don't.
Well,
and then I thought it was so funny how in the letter he's like, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, history's never stopped.
Yeah.
You guys keep going.
It's just a cycle.
It's just a cycle.
It's always a cycle. It does repeat itself.
Right.
But it's
This time it's a straight line. It hasn't even stopped. Just pissed me off. Just let people live their life.
Yep.
It's fine. I'm fine.
It's fine. We're fine.
We're fine.
This is the stuff that should be taught in history classes.
Absolutely.
Though,
God, if it was, I might have been interested. The stuff we learned about in history was fucking boring, and I fell asleep the whole time.
I will say I had at least a couple of teachers in high school and stuff that taught us a little more than what was in the books.
That's good.
And
That's nice.
more so related to Native American and Indigenous rather than Black history. But at least
I didn't learn anything about that.
At least it was something. That we learned a little bit of the whitewashing.
I just learned this year that the global map is whitewashed. It's not right.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that until this year.
I did learn in school.
I didn't know that.
Back in the 70s. Yeah.
Because I saw on a TikTok that they were talking about how the map isn't accurate, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah, it's not right.
No, it's made us bigger than everybody else.
It made all the white countries bigger.
Yeah. This world is fucked.
I hate it.
This world is super fucked.
But it's also really fun to know, like, that, what is it, Maine is closer to France than Florida is.
Oh, really?
Wow. Because of where everything actually lays. Like, we think it lays, like, straight across, but it's the angles.
Let's go to France by way of Maine.
You guys are learning so much today.
Do you remember when we went to see Jenny and she said she thought that what we were going to do, she didn't know we were going to bring Amy in on it, or maybe she did and didn't say anything.
You probably did.
She said what she saw us doing is teaching people is helping people learn things and
Mm-hmm.
educating people. And I was like, what do we know? What can we teach anybody? Turns out the
A
best
lot.
things you can teach people are things you're learning yourself, as you probably know, because
Yeah.
I was a teacher too. And I learned so much being a teacher because I had to go and research stuff before I could teach it to someone else.
Exactly. I had to teach. I have a degree in biology, which was ages ago, but I had to teach myself earth science in order to teach earth science
Yeah.
because what I mainly taught was earth science. So I am that geek that loves rocks and minerals and geologic time and the weather. And when I ask people about what the weather is, I'm actually thoroughly interested and not just making small talk.
Then you might love the Hallmark movie about love in the forecast. Because it's about, I never finished it and I'm so sad. It's about,
Must have been really good. Really good, you guys.
I was gonna,
Super good.
I started it when I was
Confession.
crafting and it was like 11:30 and there was like 20 minutes left and I'm like, I'm gonna finish this another time. I have to go to bed. And then Hallmark took it off.
I don't have any Hallmark channels anymore.
That's why you just DVR'd them.
Okay, well I don't have DVR.
yeah,
but it
the
was-
Hallmark things you do. If
it
you
was
have a
so
Hallmark
cute.
channel, you do.
It was about this. It was about this. Oh my god. You just, okay. So it was about this girl who's a weather person.
You're only going to hear
I'm
about
also-
the first half because she didn't see the end.
I'm also super skeptical.
For the record, we know how it ends. Okay.
That's
But
That
we
They
is
have this,
finally kiss.
that is fair.
we have
it
the
is Hallmark.
scientific weather girl who like is shooting for the promotion, and she relies on all these instruments and like science, and the science tells us that it's gonna rain and blah blah blah. And then she meets this like really down to earth guy who's like, well, the geese are flying in the V formation, and that means it's gonna rain 3 inches.
Do you know why one side of the V is always longer than the other?
One of them's leading, right? One of them's like steering. He's the head of it, right?
Just because there's more geese on the other side.
Oh.
Back to Hallmark.
Well, I suppose you can't just have nobody in the corner.
Yeah,
Nobody
there's,
puts baby
actually
in the
there's
corner.
there's a lot of really interesting things we can learn from geese, but we'll finish the Hallmark weather
Thank
movie
you.
first.
We'll turn to geese next.
So yeah, so she's like slowly falling in love with him obviously because he's like, I know,
Was it like over 2 days too?
probably it was no, it
It's like
wasn't.
a
It was a
weekend.
long time. It was a long time for a Hallmark movie. It wasn't like an hour. It wasn't like a Twilight, but so they like he's slowly like teaching her that you don't always have to rely on your instruments. Like sometimes nature can tell you, and like oh my god, the funniest one is. If you, I don't know how they do this, but you have to listen to a cricket chirp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've
And,
heard that.
It's
Yeah.
the speed of the chirp.
Yeah.
I listened to an episode of Criminal about that.
Yeah.
I believe.
and I'm like, who has time to sit and listen to a cricket
Super
chirp?
podcast.
But it was so cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took it off and I can't find it. It's adorable. Anyways, that's what made me think
It'll
of
be
it.
out again eventually.
I hope so, because I don't know how it ends.
I think you do.
Cliffhanger. Do they kiss?
There was
We don't know.
actually a murder.
Like when I was watching, I started watching Hallmark movies, you know, and then
I
a
like the
couple of
movies
years
and
ago.
murder.
Yeah.
Movies and mysteries.
Well, I was watching just the Christmas ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's because that's all
Right,
I
right,
cared
right.
about.
Because you and Melissa were doing it.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Cozy
then
Land.
Cozy
Great
Land
podcast.
with me and Melissa.
It's so good.
And
So heartwarming.
thank you. We have not done an episode.
I know
with
you haven't.
Ian's.
I've been waiting.
Our time travel episode's going to be next, and now I've watched another movie about time travel, and I got to talk to her about that. Anyway, but no, I was watching the Christmas ones, and I've been doing that for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I I got the Hallmark app instead of the Friendly app.
Mm-hmm.
So it had the murders and
better.
mysteries and all that stuff.
Much better.
Yeah, it's great. It's got all
Much better.
and one of them had Alison Sweeney in it. And
You
it was
love her.
I love her. It was a Christmas one.
Yeah.
Sammy on Days of Our Lives. And so I started watching it, and I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas thing, and she works at a little bakery shop, and she's and she's going to the Christmas tree farm to pick out her Christmas tree. And blah, blah. There's a murder.
like 2 days before Christmas too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course,
There was
there's
a-
all these beautiful trees
Yeah.
still there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably in fake snow. But
Oh,
anyway, I was like,
glued
there's a
on their
murder.
boots.
I'm like, a murder? What the? And then I realized it was one of the
Murder.
A murder!
Yeah,
We're
so-
picking up Christmas trees!
I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know Hallmark
Was
did
it with
murders.
a chainsaw or an axe?
Neither. That's
Don't think
way
it was
too
either one. It was
violent
probably
for
poison
them.
cookies or
Yeah,
something. I don't
yeah.
remember.
Well, then it was a woman.
Yeah.
Poison
exactly.
cookie, yeah.
I think it was a woman.
They're all, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Allison Sweeney was in a Hallmark movie with a guy from Buffy. I forget
yeah?
his name. He played her love interest, Riley.
Was it Spike?
No, but I love Spike.
Spike was cute.
But you know what? Upon looking back, he was awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
essayed her.
Yeah. You can say the words. You're not on TikTok.
I don't, but I don't want to. I'm like, God damn it, Spike.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And like, I
Because it
love
was
him.
the 90s.
Oh God, we didn't.
Do you are too young to remember, those of you who are old like
I'm
me,
old.
General Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
back in the 80s.
Okay, no, that was before me.
It was before you were born.
Yeah.
There was a couple that...
Luke and Laura.
Luke and Laura.
I remember Luke and Laura.
Do you know that he raped her? That's how they met. He raped her. Yeah, that's how they met.
The dogs are howling.
Yeah. He was a total skeety,
And they were
pervy,
together for like
years.
40 years until he died. The actor, not the character.
I think you broke her.
Because I remember everybody going, "Oh, Luke and Laura, Luke and Laura." I'm like, he fucking raped her. What are you people talking about?
Now I'm.
Yeah.
Well,
She was like
it,
14 too.
what was the...
She was a tiny young girl when that happened.
Was it you
Awful.
guys that, or did I read this somewhere else that was, no, I think I saw it on a reel or something that talked about like,
Which is
With-
Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
just different, yeah, because I don't have the app for TikTok. I just do what old people do and look on Facebook and Instagram. But there was something that said, like, if you put the Danny DeVito in the character's role and is it creepy, then the character is a creep. So like they said it for like 50 Shades
Danny DeVito.
for 50
He's a
Shades,
sweetheart.
but that's why it's like
No.
for like 50 Shades of Grey. If you put Danny DeVito
Yeah.
in whatever his
Christian Grey.
I
Yeah.
never read the books, never watched any of the movies, but if you put him in that
Didn't
role,
miss anything.
is he a creep then?
Yes.
Then the character is a creep.
Yeah.
And I was like, my
But it-
mind was blown at
Yes.
that because I'm like, that is so
But
real.
poor
Like,
Danny.
Well, I heard somebody say once that it's only stalking if you're not interested in the guy.
no.
So it's kind of the same sort of thing where
No.
you want a guy to, you know,
Like
pay
Edward
attention to
watching
you and
her
all
when she
this.
sleeps in Twilight. Like,
Yeah.
come the fuck
I
on,
know.
Edward. You're
See?
fucking creepy.
And that's what I mean.
But I love
But
it.
she liked it, so it was okay.
So it was okay.
If she was Danny DeVito,
That was the
it would have
first
been
night I
okay.
dreamt about Edward Cullen. I'm sorry.
Oh, so never watched any of the Twilight or read any of the books.
I read the first book and I saw the first movie, but only with riff tracks, and it was hilarious.
Here's the thing.
I tried reading the second book. I couldn't.
They're just terrible
They're
books.
terrible.
I will say Stephanie Meyer wrote another book, the first book, but from a different. So like
Oh yeah, you were saying this.
Bella's the vampire and Bo's the boy, and it was good. It had a totally different ending. I won't spoil it, so you guys can read it,
Yeah.
but it was really
Thank you.
good.
It's on my
I know.
bedside table.
I know. You're on the wait list from the e-library.
Wait, there's a wait list for that book?
Yeah, obviously.
Probably.
I forget what it's called, but
Lots of people like terrible books.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, books are an escape. They're a way to like.
I have read
not
some
have to
terrible
think.
books that I've loved, so I really should not
I mean,
throw
there's
stones.
variations of terrible. There are books I can think of 2 books I think in my lifetime, other than assigned reading. Because if you assign me a book, I'm not going to read it.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
enjoy it.
I am going to skim it,
Yeah.
and I am going to
Read the
fake my
footnotes.
way through it, and somehow still would do really well because no one else talks in class. Hey, college, that's what I did. No, but my brother's ex-girlfriend bought me this book.
The one we don't like.
Yep,
Oh, I hate her.
yep. She's awful. But anyways,
I hate her too. I have no idea.
I've never met her, but
I'll tell you
You don't
stories
need to.
offline.
Okay.
I'll
tell you guys later.
No, it was this book, and it had a like decent concept to it. I got less than 50 pages in it. I was like, "This is trash."
Mm-hmm.
And she bought it because she met the author at like some like farmer's market or something. And I'm like, "Oh, so you got guilted into buying
Yeah,
it?" And
yeah.
it was just like it had a really good like plot line or like idea, but it was like Amy walked through the door, then Megan walked through the door, and then a dog walked through the door. And then she saw him out of the corner of her eye.
like he was paid, or like the author was paid by the word.
Oh my lord, it was just
What was the book?
brutal.
Maybe it was 50 Shades of Grey, where every other line someone's murmuring.
Yeah, that was 50 Shades.
She murmured.
And she was
murmured.
mercurial.
He
Mercurial.
murmured into her ear. She
Yeah.
murmured. They murmured.
Yeah.
Did
She
they have
turned
a
the
heart
corner and
murmur?
There was a lot
Like
of murmuring.
they should
There's a lot of murmuring.
probably get that checked.
That looked
And
at,
like
yeah.
the thing that ticks me off about 50 Shades of Grey is like, I read it. I'm ashamed.
I read the first one.
But
I didn't buy it. I downloaded the PDF and I sat there on my Kindle going like this.
Right, skipping through.
Because you couldn't like shrink it to the page.
Oh no!
So you're like,
oh god. Yeah, I would have given up right there.
But like, it's
I
like a
didn't get very far.
whole, like all about kind of dominant and submissive, and you know. But the thing is that I feel like not that I know a lot about it, but she was like coerced into it.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that shouldn't be how it is.
right.
But because he's a sexy billionaire, it's
Right.
okay.
But if he was Danny DeVito, he wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been.
Back to Danny DeVito.
Or if he would have
Danny
been an ugly
DeVito,
guy.
I love you absolutely,
Yes.
and I've read some of the things like what he Matilda, the little girl in
Yes.
Matilda, because when her mom was
Her
sick,
mom,
he
yeah.
took care of her and like
Yeah.
took care of the family
Yeah.
and did everything and
And
like
I think he brought her to see her mom because
Yeah.
she was in the she died.
Like-
she passed away.
like Danny DeVito basically was like her godfather.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's so sweet.
he's
Yes.
a sweet man.
Oh, yeah.
And he's friends
But
with Judge Clooney.
and that's
and they
why
drink limoncello together.
and that's
I
why
wanna
it's
be
one of
there.
those like if you put that wonderful person
Right.
into that category and
Is it creepy?
is it creepy? Is that a bad person? Yes, it is.
I
yeah.
was devastated.
Something to think
But
about.
that's
I was
why
so
there's
sad though when I
fantasy.
like rewatched Buffy and I saw that scene and I was like, Spike.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they end up together. Well, I mean he ascends, but
Spoiler alert.
I know. Sorry. I know it ended fucking
Jeez, I
20
gotta
years
watch that
ago,
this
but
weekend.
sorry. Terrible series finale, by the way.
Oh, well, we can't all be lost. Just kidding. Or Game of Thrones.
I will say I did love the
Those are
series
both bad.
finale of Roseanne, the original.
Oh, right. We talked about that on one of
I
our
know.
episodes. So one of the things I'm doing when I'm going through these old episodes is I'm like making tags of everything so that I can say like, this is the time Megan mentioned watching the Connors.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time we talked about the drawing room, which we talked about
Yes,
last time.
yes.
And we were like, I never knew where the drawing room went. Well, guess what? 62 episodes we did.
It's because people would withdraw to it, in
Right.
case you were wondering.
Right. But
It's not
anyway,
where they would draw.
No.
It's
And I thought it
withdraw.
was drawing curtains.
Right. No, it was because the women would withdraw there after dinner, so the men could be
Yeah,
man
because the
together.
do
men were
man
pain in
things.
the asses and they just
could
had to get
smoke.
away.
They had to
Their
go and
cigar-
smoke their
'cause
stogies.
nothing's
and...
changed. Men
Yeah.
are still pain in the asses. I love them.
Mm-hmm. They're the best.
I love men.
All right. I guess we've been doing this long enough.
Oh my god, this was off the rails.
I know. I hope
But
it
I
was
love
fun
it.
for you guys.
I
It was
hope
fun for us.
it was fun. Listen, we had a good time.
You know, thanks to Snoop Dogg, Amy, for bringing Snoop
Yep.
Dogg. And
Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay.
I'll see if I can figure out a way
I don't
to
think
That's
that's
not
Snoop
video
Dogg.
that and put it in somehow. But
Now step through the fog and I creep through the smoke, cause I'm Snoop Doggy, Doggy, Doggy. Now step through.
anyway, thanks for joining us, you guys.
Thanks everybody. We love
And
you.
we'll see you next time. And if Paige would like to come on and be interviewed, that would be great.
We would
Paige,
love to talk
we
to Paige.
support you.
Yep,
We believe
we
you.
do. We believe you. We support you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. What? Did it not really record?
Are you shitting
I'm
me?
not shitting you. Oh no, it's uploaded. No.
Amy Lotsberg.
It's gonna be a short episode.
We have this. We have this.
We did.
Thank
I'm not
God.
in it, but oh, that was fun.
But
How is that possible?
Yeah, I'll we're in 14 minutes. Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of The Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when The Activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.